Hi, I'm Sharmaine. Welcome to Curiosity Over Fear, where we have the difficult conversations about overcoming fear with courage and curiosity. So, whether you're looking to change something with your career or just everyday life, I invite you to join me on this journey to be less fearful and more daring. Welcome back to Curiosity Over Fear. So, for this week, I actually had a really hard time figuring out what to talk about for the first episode of this month. There's just a lot happening. Father's Day, Pride Month, the first day of summer, and then there was something I wasn't super familiar with: Juneteenth. Juneteenth is short for June 19th, and I learned it marks the end of slavery in the United States. But here's the thing: even though Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, a lot of enslaved people didn't actually find out they were free until over 2 years later. And it wasn't until June 19, 1865, when Union soldiers finally showed up in Galveston, Texas, that they were told. That's what Juneteenth honors: the real moment freedom reached the last enslaved people. But Juneteenth isn't just a celebration, it's a reminder that freedom isn't always given freely, that even when laws change, power can still delay justice, withhold truth, and keep systems in place that harm people. It reminds us to stay awake, stay curious, and keep showing up, or history has a way of repeating itself. So, a few days ago, I went to an event here in San Diego called Vision 2025 Community Summit, hosted by MOGO, which stands for Moral Government. They're a community that advocates for just and moral governance. It was a powerful gathering meant to educate and mobilize people to counteract Project 2025. The summit broke down the risks, offered real tools to challenge the incoming administration, and gave us a way to fight for the rights we worked hard to win and to keep pushing for more. MOGO's all about holding government accountable through things like community empowerment and impact litigation. So I actually got there a little late because I went to the wrong location. But as I walked in, just as the first speaker was wrapping up, and right away, I felt overwhelmed. Like the gravity of it all really hit me because these aren't just political talking points. These are issues that directly affect me and so many people who aren't white. And it's not just one thing, it's layered. There's education, civil liberties, environmental protections, things that took generations to build are being dismantled. What stuck with me the most was when one of the speakers said it could take two full generations to undo the damage happening under our current administration. 2 generations just to get back to where we are now. And I've seen the videos, I've read the headlines. I'm sure you have too. Women's rights, LGBTQ rights, the stripping away of DEI. It really does feel like we're being dragged backwards in time, back to when Black and Brown people had no rights, when women had no agency, when being different meant being punished or erased. And standing there, I just kept thinking, history really does repeat itself if we're not mindful and intentional with our choices. Another speaker reminded us how long it took to build access to education. And now, even that is under attack. Climate protections are also being shredded. Administrative structures are collapsing, and apparently, child labor is back. They're saying that they're allowing kids as young as 14 to be able to start working in factories again. Like, how is that even real? How is that allowed? Then the DEI part. Trump saying that diversity, equity, and inclusion is illegal because it quote unquote undermines national unity. How does I don't know how that makes sense. There man, there's just so much more examples that they gave. I wish I remembered every single thing that they gave, but I will admit that I do feel a little ignorant when it comes to a lot of these issues. But not knowing all the details does make me want to learn more. I want to be better informed. I want to do better, especially as an immigrant myself. That reminds me of an immigration attorney that spoke as well. I actually didn't know that Trump labeled El Salvador as the quote unquote safest country as justification for deportation. But what doesn't make sense to me is that if someone had left El Salvador because they didn't feel safe and now they're being sent back, are they actually safe? She also shared that international students are getting arrested for protesting or even just posting on their social media their political views. And since they don't have actual criminal records, they're getting deported for activism. Isn't that a direct violation of the First Amendment? She made a point I also couldn't stop thinking about how immigrants bring fresh ideas. That's literally how innovation happens. She mentioned that international students bring major funding to universities, and now schools with high international populations are being targeted. And here's the wildest part. She used Elon Musk as an example because he came here from South Africa, studied in the US, and built Tesla, solar tech, and the Powerwall battery. But now he supports anti immigrant rhetoric. Another speaker mentioned Nazi Germany, how people technically had free speech over there, but only in very specific times, places, and ways that didn't challenge power. Sound familiar? Because that's exactly what's happening here now. So by the end of the summit, I felt so heavy and sad, but that doesn't even begin to cover what I was completely feeling. It was more like surreal. Like, am I really in this time where all of this is happening? In this moment, I am in my own little bubble where nothing is directly affecting me at this current moment. But hearing all of it and knowing that it's happening all around me, it does scare me, especially with the recent ICE raid at a local Italian restaurant, which I have gone to and I love going there. And also, it's in South Park, which is just a few towns over from where I live currently. So, what happened was on May 30th, ICE agents showed up in full military gear with weapons and the whole shebang and detained several workers who couldn't provide ID. When the people nearby saw, they started asking questions. And when the people started asking questions, ICE threw flashbang grenades into the crowd. Grenades at a restaurant in the neighborhoods. How insane is that? San Diego's mayor even spoke out, saying actions like that destroyed trust between communities and law enforcement. And I agree. It created fear, not safety. Are we living in a sci-fi movie or is just America now? All of this, everything I've been reflecting on, is exactly why curiosity matters. And I don't mean the fluffy kind where you're like, oh, what if I tried a new latte today? I mean the deep, uncomfortable kind of curiosity that asks, what's really going on here? Who's being left out? Whose voices aren't being heard? That kind of curiosity keeps us from sleepwalking into injustice. So as I stood there listening to speaker after speaker, I just kept asking myself, how did we get here? I know that was a lot, and honestly, I'm still sitting with it. But maybe that's the point. Maybe we should sit with things more, not scroll past them, not numb out. Just stay with it, get curious, ask better questions. Because when we stop asking questions, we stop noticing the cracks. And when we stop noticing the cracks, people fall, people fall through them. Entire communities disappear from the conversation. And that's when history starts to repeat itself. And I don't want to be someone who just watches that happen. I want to stay awake. I want to stay curious. And I hope you do too. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Connect with me on social media at Curiosity Over Fear. And if you think someone else could benefit from this episode, feel free to share it. And don't forget to subscribe to Curiosity Over Fear so you never miss an episode. Your support helps the podcast grow and reach more people who, like you, are choosing curiosity over fear. Remember, the choice is always ours, fear or curiosity. I hope you'll choose curiosity today and every day. Stay curious, stay courageous, and always ask yourself, what would be possible if you led with courage and curiosity? If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to leave me a review so that I can send you a free Curiosity Over Fear sticker. Then after writing the review, claim your free gift by taking a screenshot and sending it to me via direct message on Instagram at Curiosity Over Fear. Thank you for joining me this week on Curiosity Over Fear. If you haven't already, subscribe so you can get a reminder to tune in every other Thursday for new episodes. And remember, always ask yourself, what would be possible if you led with courage and curiosity?